Are you hungry but only have 30 minutes to meal prep? Then download my new e-cookbook, What to Meal Prep, at successfitnessstore.com. You will get 3 step-by-step written and visual recipes for one high-protein meal that's under 600 calories. I'll help you cook fresh salmon, steam fresh broccoli, and quinoa in under 30 minutes to help you stay on track of your fitness goals. So go to successfitnessstore.com to download your copy today. Welcome to the Success Fitness Podcast. I am your host, Christian Evans. This podcast is about helping improve our relationship with nutrition and exercise to achieve success in our fitness journey. And today, our special guest, Robert Konneh, will help us do just that by sharing his story of why he wanted to get fit before 40, how he overcame breaking his leg that resulted in weight gain, and also it led to him hiring a personal trainer to help him lose a total of 103 pounds. Without further ado, Success Fitness family, please welcome Mr. Richard Konneh. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Now, for those who are listening and can hear the different accent, tell everybody where you're from.
I'm currently from London, England, just this place called Romford, just outside Essex, where I'm coming from.
Okay. And what time is it there right now?
It is just gone 10 past 9 in the evening.
Okay, in the evening? Okay, so it is 3 p.m. here in the United States, Peoria, Illinois. So I'm glad that Mr. Robert can come on this podcast and make these adjustments for, time and everything like that. So yeah, we're trying to spread the love with the Success Fitness Podcast and highlight more people like you, no matter if they're in the States or as we would call it, across the pond. And so you've lost a total of 103 pounds. I just wanted to salute you and just let everybody know like where you're from and what your origin story was and how it did you get to a point to where you wanted to lose weight.
I don't know. It's always been sort of on the larger side, sort of growing up anyway. And I did sort of a bit of fitness sort of in my younger days. And as I've gotten older, it's not picked to the wayside, but just not as extreme as sort of now, because see, keeping fit and well does breed longevity in the future. The main thing happened when I was 38, 39. I went to a family get-together up in north of England, some place called Littleborough, and I slipped on one of my in-laws, like a dry patio, and my leg just went one way, but it went the other way. I snapped my patella tendon in half. So it's the muscle that attaches your top of your leg to the bottom of your leg. When I had an X-ray, the hospital is just completely gone in half. So I had to have an operation. Physio for the best part of 11 months before I could even walk properly. And in that time, first time in my life, got into over 300 pounds. So it was about 306 pounds in total. And since then, I'm just trying to figure out a way to get the weight off as soon as I was able and fit enough to do so.
Wow. So, man, describe that. I know that's probably a traumatizing event about snapping your patella tendon, you say? The tendon in there? Oh my goodness, that is crazy. What kind of pain is that? I don't think I've ever talked to anybody who's had that type of injury. What, like level 1 to 10, 10 being the worst?
It's a strange one, because at the time I couldn't. Yeah, I knew it hurt. Obviously, it was just being held together by sinew. But at the time, because of the shock of the situation, I knew it was bad because I just couldn't stand up and walk with my leg at all. It's only when I actually got to the hospital and x-rayed it and see the extent of how bad the injury was, that's when I found out exactly how bad it was. I mean, simple thing, but the bottom half of my leg was just dangling. I had no control over it whatsoever. That's when I knew the extent of the damage at that time.
Wow. So it took you about 11 months to be able to walk again. You went through therapy and things like that. So you mentioned during those 11 months, you started putting on, weight. So can you remember what weight you were at, prior to you breaking your leg? And then you said you end up getting over about 400 pounds at your heaviest. So what was your weight?
So my heaviest was 306 pounds. So I gained probably within that time the best part of maybe 45 pounds or so. But
Okay.
yeah, sometimes when I could start to do things I do normally, there's that extra effort to try and do that because to compensate with the extra weight that I put on throughout that time. So yeah, it was a bit of a daunting experience.
I got you. So you mentioned this was about when you was like what 38, 39
Yeah,
when this happened, and
yeah.
then okay, you're going through this injury, you're putting on weight, and what was the moment when it popped in your head that your 40th birthday was coming up, and one of your birthday wishes or desires for your birthday was to get fit by 40? What was that moment like for you when you came to that conclusion?
So it's a bit of a surreal one. It's when the start of coronavirus was happening sort of worldwide, and in my workplace, two of the people that I work with passed away from corona. I mean, they were bigger guys as well. I'm not saying that was directly linked to it, but surely if there was a bit more fit, maybe they'd be able to fight it better. I'm not too sure.
I gotcha.
But there was an incident where I don't know. I think something was burning in my kitchen, and I've got up and I've just sprinted to the kitchen to see what it was, and I've just killed over on the floor. I couldn't breathe. I wasn't too sure if I was having an episode or it was the virus got me. I wasn't too sure, but I just knew that was my moment. I said, no, I've really got to do something about this now.
Man, that's man, kind of speechless on that because it was so surreal because, talking to more and more people and hearing their stories about how COVID affected their neck of the woods and how it affected them and people around them. And, condolences to, your coworkers and everything like that, due to that fact. I thank God that didn't happen to me in regards to anybody that I knew passed as a result from the complications of that. But it's real, and you're on the news or listening to the news and hearing about who's passing out, kind of like anybody and everybody was for the most part. But once you start looking into more of who was going away, you know they had a lot of compromising health situations, whether it's weight or other situations prior to that. And you said you're going to the kitchen and you got short of breath. What was that moment like for you in there?
Oh, scary.
Was you thinking that it's like, okay, hey, do I got it, or what was that like?
It was scary because and right at the beginning, this was a separate episode where they didn't know what the symptoms were in terms of loss of smell, loss of taste, which I actually did have, but wasn't diagnosed at the time. Um, this this situation was just frightening because you're powerless at the time. You're just thinking, why am I feeling like this? As you're in despair, sort of things go through your mind, thinking, is this possibly the end? I'm not sure, but yeah, it was something I don't really want to push to go through again.
I got you. So in that moment of, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna make it, or is this it? Is this it? Did you tell yourself anything like, okay, if I, survive this or get out of this, I'm going to make a change?
Oh yeah, most definitely. It was just like a mental note to myself. I got my breathing back, sat down, just took a few seconds, and I was just like, no, I just can't carry on like this. No, this weight has to go.
I got you. So, okay, you hit that moment. So, what was your next step after that?
So the next step was just trawling through YouTube looking for ideas, going through Instagram looking for ideas, and also there's billions of transformations you can do. And the thing about it is, there's always someone out there who's going through something similar, just in case of just sifting them out. And I came across Sports Nutrition Made Simple with a guy called Ben Diesel, 9 ounce at the time, and just looking at his background and where he got to, it was just so many similarities in terms of how he started and how I was in sort of beginning, in terms of, yeah, we liked the gym at the time, but didn't always eat the best, or we didn't have the right routine of how to go about things. So like literally picking his brain and looking at his profile, how he did stuff, and got into the program, and yeah, snowball from there. I just thought, yeah, I'm gonna make a proper go at this now. So I got the program from online, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a phone call. You can call the instructor as well, who can give you information, tips and bits of how to get through certain things if you plateaued, how to go about weighing certain foods, like giving out
Mm-hmm.
exercise, and even broke that down in terms of Paul set reps that you have to do with certain exercises. So it's really, really in depth of how you go about it. And I was just followed that to the T sort of day after day. And I think at the time, because Konneh was still happening,
Right.
a lot of things were closed and you couldn't really go anywhere. You could
Right.
the supermarket, maybe the chemist, that was about it. So you could literally divulge so much of your time just to focus on getting fit, and that's which I did for the best part of 6 months.
I got you. How were those complications of, like you said, some of the grocery stores, out there, maybe they were closed or hours changed, how was that? Because at least here, say the typical 24-hour stores, they started closing about like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. So that was one of them. And then I noticed just an increase of food delivery and grocery deliveries. So how was that trying to get your food and things that you needed in that regard? You briefly touched on it, right before I started talking, but go a little bit more in depth about how did that affected your meal prep plan? Because a part of working out and losing weight is, working out is, one part, but the big part is about what you're doing at home. And what you're doing at home is eating. And that's what a lot of people did, during the lockdowns. So how was that getting the proper and the right type of food to be disciplined? I was like, okay, I'm not going to get some chocolate. I'm going to get, what my trainer told me to get.
It was a challenge all the way around, not in terms of what your trainer had to get. It's a case of lockdown, it was just an effort just to get into the store, let alone to get the stuff that you needed. There was queues for the best part, probably half a mile long. Most stores were like that because of just rationing people getting in, making sure you had the face masks on, the hang-free before you even got into the place. And once you got in there, you wasn't totally sure of what you wanted was in stock because supplies were so short and so low. Like things like getting chicken or certain carbs like brown rice. I mean, brown pasta, forget it. Pasta was one of the main things here in the UK. You just went completely that with toilet roll. It was a struggle to the point where I either had to ration what I had when I did get it, or I had to make real big changes in terms of what I could get and how I can apply what I have got to the program. And it's a case of just chopping and changing, same from what I couldn't eat exactly right amount of protein because I don't know if I can have chicken the next day. And if it didn't have the chicken the next day, there's no chance of me getting to the store and making sure they had it. I didn't know if they was going to have it or not. So yeah, it was just those sort of challenges I had, and to the point where certain suppliers where they said on a program I just couldn't get. I had no choice, so I had to really modify what I did there to what I did at home and try and make the best of the situation.
And that's important because just in this time now, you really have to get used to that, what you just said about, stores not having things, and it's still going on right now. You know what I mean? At least, on our side, there are some things that are still not in stores. And it's like, had it always been like that, or are we just more focused on it now because of, the supply chain and different things like that, but it just seems like maybe I'm paying attention to it, a little bit more, that there's always something out at the store, what you need, or they'll switch it out, or they'll just discontinue it for whatever reason. I understand, those who are in the that field, it's like, yeah, we go through that all the time, but some like the basic things, it completely changed. And when that happens, you have to adjust. Like you just said, you have to adjust. And, that's happened, as far as food prices, at least here, we're dealing with, our own type of inflation and things here, where let's say, some salmon, 3 pounds of salmon fillet used to be maybe about $17, $18. Now it's up to, I've seen it up to like 32. So you make those different adjustments, and it's like, okay, here you got a lean piece of protein. Now you gotta, do something else or find a substitution. And those substitutions can be tough, especially when you are trying to stick to the program, trying to stick to the program. And the program you got, that was from Ben Diesel.
Yeah, Sports Nutrition Made Simple.
Yeah. Shout out to Ben. We are actually friends on on Facebook. I don't know him personally, but I connected with him a few years ago, just adding people who had, their weight loss transformations, who had great weight loss transformations. And speaking of that, I might try to get him on the show too. And so he'll probably be surprised to see one of his clients on there. But I appreciate him taking that time out and teaching you the jewels, and you following them. So when you came across his profile, what resonated with you in that regards?
Obviously, apart from sort of physical sort of reputation, look sort of similar, but it's just more of his background. I know he's like Haitian type background, mine sort of West African, Ghanaian. In terms of natural foods that we do eat aren't really the best healthy for you, but they sustain you sort of through life. And he liked the gym, I like the gym, and it was just just a connection there. I just thought, this is someone who's been there, done it, and I can really
I got you. So the credibility was there. So what were some of the first initial changes that that were implemented in your life to get you started back into the right direction?
Some of the changes were just being held accountable. That's number one, in terms of having a structure of what I had to do sort of day after day. So it's just something I can implement, and it's right there, and I can just follow it to a T. Make sure I add all the right food, times for workouts, rest times to read the actual script of all the plans, what I had to do. So it was all very sort of regimented, and the fact that I could devote literally 95% of my time to this because nothing else was going on, that really, really helped. And once you start seeing physical changes, this is a bit smaller, or this muscle's coming out, or can see my traps, and you're thinking, yeah, this gives you spur to go more and more and more. Just delve a bit deeper, see how far I can go, and yeah, just a snowball effect, really. So
good. So with that being said, what's your favorite item to meal prep? What was like the like your go-to? Like if they couldn't find it in the stores or whatever you had the most of, just was like, irregardless if they had it at the store or if they didn't, what was like your favorite thing that either you could get your hands on, or hey, I may have to wait for a week or so? Like, what was like your staple thing to eat during that time?
So my staple thing to eat was probably the chicken jambalaya. I've got it a few times on my page as well. It's just a very simple meal, which I've done many a times. I definitely look at the recipe now. It's a case of 8 spices, 3 to 4 chicken breasts. You can have a pan fried chicken, or you can stay in the oven. You've got 1 medium sweet potato. You've got 1 bell pepper, between 55 and 60 grams of mushrooms, and you blend it all together, and it just, everything is got all your protein in there. The oils with this coconut oil, especially the coconut oil, excites you, gets that heating effect, so your metabolism gets a bit faster, and you're just content after you've eaten it. You don't really want anything else after you've had that, and I could just have that day after day after day after day. I mean, sometimes I get some fish in there just for some variety of a bit of beef.
I got you. Yeah, that was your go-to. Like when you find your go-to that's simple for you to make, you're like, I can make this in my sleep. And as long as I have enough of it, grab and go and eat and work out and go from there. So was that your like pre-workout meal or post-workout meal, or just something just good just to have on deck either way?
Yeah, it's definitely sort of post-workout.
I got you.
Quite heavy on the stomach. Most times I did sort of train fasted. I mean, you could have a meal beforehand if you wanted to. It was completely up to you. But I just felt a lot more comfortable, not having anything in my stomach when I did train. I just felt
Yeah, I'm like that too. I don't care for anything on my stomach other than water or coffee or some fresh pressed juice, before I work out. Some days I may do oatmeal, but it's like I feel so bloated or just so full you don't feel like moving. It kind of lasts about 10-15 minutes for me, and then you get this, where I get this jolt of energy to go forward and work out. But I'm like, I'd just rather just have water. So with that being said, what was what was your favorite muscle group / exercise to do?
favorite muscle group exercise. Probably bench press and squats are my favorites, because you get that massive boost of testosterone when you're doing it. Squats just work every muscle, like get the bar across your shoulders, works your legs, your traps, everything that's in that one motion. And you think you're just hitting all those muscle groups to give you that burning sensation, give you that muscle gain. And it's just one of the best bang for your buck exercises, I think. And it worked for me. I really did enjoy it.
I got you. So what's your least favorite?
Oh, my least favorite? Probably pull-ups, because being of a certain size, trying to get yourself up there it's an effort. But
I gotcha.
More and more you progress in it. I mean, I'm not better at it now, but at the time it was, it's just like, you look at the bar, just thinking, I'll do anything else but do that.
I gotcha.
At the time it was hard, but
progressing. I got you. Fair enough. Lately, back and lats and lower lats, upper traps and all that, rear delts, that has been my focus point, because I want to be able to do a clean pull-up. I can do probably about 3/4 of one. I was dealing with some lower back issues, dealing with for about like last year and a half or whatever like that, and just trying to just rehab that a certain type of way. But so as far as back and pull-ups, good. As far as me, my favorite has been like back and chest. Those two, I always superset those. But legs and squats, like, I hate those. Like, I did leg day earlier today, did some isolation work and some hack squats. But it's a love-hate relationship. It's definitely a love-hate relationship with me and leg day. So with the lockdown going on over there, and like you mentioned about gyms and things like that being closed, where did you work out at? Was it at home, or did you have a exercise facility like where you're at? Where did you work out at?
Yeah, so this was probably one of the biggest challenges I had at the time, because obviously, gyms were closed, and a lot of the things that weren't seen as essential were just locked down completely. So fortunately for me, I did have some weights I had in the garden for the shed that to bring out. I had like a bar, I've got a bench, and I can do sort of bench work on presses, that type of thing. So I didn't have exactly what I wanted, but I didn't have anything that I couldn't work out with. And so I had to make a few fundamental changes here and there just to get a decent workout in. That with the food issue as well, where I couldn't follow it completely to the T that I had, due to not being able to get supplies in. I had to cut foods down, or even certain carbs or things I had to go without. So that's how I sort of, although in my mind, came into the more sort of keto realm of doing things, in terms of adding more fat just to get that satiation, because I just couldn't get the carbs in the store. And that's where the sort of name came about.
I got you. By the way, how tall are you?
I am 6'1".
Okay, 6'1", and you got up to 400 pounds, right? So over. Say what?
306 pounds, I got to.
Okay. So you got up to 306, you said?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. I got you. I misquoted you. So 6'1", get up to 306, and so you dropped 103, right? What was it like? What was it like when you finally lost that 100 pounds? What was that feeling like for you?
Yeah, it was a strange one. It's just because the first time in my life, I haven't not seen that weight since probably my early 20s. It was life changing. It was life changing. Just seeing, especially at the age I'm at, just being able to do it just gives hope to other people they can do it as well. And most shock came to my friends and family, because we were banned from seeing each other at that time. So when the restrictions did come down, they did see me look like a completely different person. I mean, to the point where they thought I was sick or was not really well. But it just makes a massive change in my life. Just certain things I couldn't do before, I can do with ease now. Sometimes things you think are commonplace, but because you're of a certain size, you'll sort of doubt yourself if you can do them or not. And that's just not the case now. It's just everything's that much easier.
It's like the world just opens up to you. The world opens up to you. You have more selection of clothes to get into, or to buy, or to be gifted to you, or whatever. But like just that feeling of when you reach that goal and you're like, you know what, I did it. And personally, I'm proud of you, for that. That is nothing to really kind of blink at or squawk at. It's like, like it's commonplace, because losing 5 pounds can be tough. Losing 10 pounds, 15, those 5 pounds, within those 5 pounds, you have those bouts of, 1 pound being lost or 2 pounds being lost. What went through your mind, or when you had those, let's say, plateaus, what went through your mind, during that time? Because I know there was a time when it was like the weight, probably just came off real fast, and maybe your weight loss transformation, everything just came off, right on pace. But if you had a plateau, what was that like, and how did you get over that?
Um, yeah, it's a strange one really, because I mean, I sort of always weighed myself in blocks of every 6 weeks, so I can have a total knowledge of exactly how much I've lost then, how much I've lost now. I give myself ample time on both sides, so I know same amount of work that's put in, and I could still judge from there. So the first 6 weeks, I lost 36 pounds, and I wasn't too sure if that was just water coming off. I know it probably wasn't totally fat at the time, probably a bit of muscle as well. But that was like the biggest chunk of weight I lost, like throughout the whole sort of process. After that, it was like maybe 20 pounds after 6 weeks, 16 pounds after 6 weeks. Basically, the smaller I got, the lower the amount of weight that came off, which was normal, because as you losing weight, your metabolism unfortunately slow down to accommodate with that, which I expected. But I didn't actually have any periods where I just didn't lose anything. So I was probably quite lucky in that respect. But I did have the full understanding that your body does change as you're going through a transformation like that. So I have to take that into account indeed.
I got you. Let's see. One last question I'll ask in regards to that is that, well, to elaborate basically what you said, not to try to skip over that, but those plateaus, those are important to get over, right? And like you said, those first 36 pounds that you kind of question, what is it, what I'm saying, what not, and then you move past it, and that is, it it's like a test, right? You're going through all these, what I would call like tests and lessons and things that you're learning during this whole transformation that you have to learn about yourself, or you're either relearning or just learning a different level about where you can take it, where things that, like you said, you can do, maybe at first you couldn't do any push-ups. Now, after 36 pounds, like, okay, I can do 5, and now I can do 10, and now I can do 20. Now it's like you can bang out 50 in the morning like it's nothing. And just during that progression, going from 5 to 10 to 15 to 50, whatever your number is. So it doesn't have to be push-ups, it can be curl squats, whatever the case may be. You learn something about yourself. You learn that I want to test myself out just a little bit more. I want to see how much more it can take. I want to push myself there. And that is what it takes. That's what it takes to get to any goal. You have to keep like pressing forward, and keep pressing forward, and keep pressing forward, right? Until eventually you get what you want. So when you got your 103-pound, weight loss completion, what major lesson in life did you learn about yourself throughout that journey that you can share with others who are looking for inspiration?
First of all, it is never too late. That's number one. Get to a certain age, I know most people in the 40s got the families, houses, jobs, kids to look after, but they need you. They need you at your fittest, because you're looking after them. You're looking after their family. So no, definitely don't take that for granted. And the fact that you can make a positive change to yourself is, yeah, definitely always can do that as well. That's one of the biggest things I would say, sort of going forward. And there's always going to be challenges. It's just a case of getting over them. Looking inspiration for other people who's done it. I mean, it's not just myself, there's other people who've done it. So it's not like it's impossible to do. It's just a case of persevering to the point where you do get past it, and you can look back at certain aspects of that journey, and sort of how those lessons can be transferable to other things in your life, which are going on, which can be useful in there as well. To the case that if you are stuck in a certain situation, that you can get out of it. There's no choice about it.
Gotcha. Well, you heard it here first. Tell everybody where they can reach you if they want to contact you to follow more of your weight loss journey, IG, Twitter, or wherever you're at. Let everybody know where they can connect with you at.
Yeah, I'm mainly on Instagram. I'm known as Keto Konneh. It's KETO KONNEH. That's where most of my transformation stuff is on there, sort of tips and bits, foods that I eat, and just general sort of day-to-day sort of trying to inspire people to get fit in their own journey as well.
All righty. And you heard it here first, right from Richard Keenan, right out of the UK. And I hope you found inspiration in today's episode. This brings us to the end of another episode of the Success Fitness Podcast. This show is sponsored by my new e-cookbook, What to Meal Prep for Beginners, at successfitnessstore.com. You can get your copy today. It includes 3 recipes for 1 high-protein meal, under 600 calories, step-by-step written instructions, video tutorials, and also a free ebook. So please help me reach more people like your loved ones when you donate to my Cash App, $Christian J. Evans. And you can also find me on Facebook and join my Facebook group, Success Fitness Family. The link will be in the description box below. Thank you for listening to the Success Fitness Podcast. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with loved ones. Please like and subscribe, and also leave a review on iTunes. This helps the podcast out. And until the next time, success fitness is the mindset. And remember, success is golden. #more weight. Peace out.